just to the south of Noonan right now, going up to Country Manor there, over to Vaughn Road, all the way down to Laura Smith Road, Sullivan Road. As you get into this area, this will be the area that we'll be watching for some rotation. So if you are in this specific area, this is the southern portion of Coweta County, or just to the south of Noonan, I should say, along the I-85 corridor, Lake Hills right now, going out to Mount Bride, or McBride, I should say, into Lakewood, now under a severe thunderstorm warning, but the tornado warning most impactful from Briarwood going up to Country Manor, going up here to McCullum as you parallel I-85 all the way out to Canyon Gate Acres, crossing the county line into Fayette County. Here is Tyrone there, Timber Ridge, going out to Smith's Crossroads along with Fayette Villa Estates. Even as far to the east, and we're not going to worry about you all too quickly, but this doesn't include what would be the western portions of Fayetteville. Peachtree City included in this as well. You see the river, you know this area well, so let's go ahead and get a track on it. There, once again, is a tornado warning if you're just joining us now for Coweta County. The storm at this point, here's Noonan, you are not in the warned area. These are for areas that are to the east of Noonan, along I-85 and coming closer and over the Coweta Fayette County line, and it does now include Peachtree City going out to Fayetteville. So within 8 minutes, this storm is over top you there in Peachtree City, into Fayetteville within the next 20 minutes. This is going to be one of these kind of storms that's going to move swiftly. If there is not exactly rotation in the air, this is a very potent wind maker. This tornado warning will continue. At this point, time now is about 3:12. It goes at least until 3:45. We'll see exactly how it reacts. As we start to take a look here, we are seeing some very interesting signatures right over I-85. So I will ask that the control room start to look at some of our GDOT cameras along I-85. This would be just to the north here of Noonan, going up to the Northgate High School area. So the Northgate High School, you're outside of the warning, but not outside of my area of concern. It's really Briarwood going out to Country Manor into Canyon Gate Acres that we'll be most concerned about, and the storm will quickly move into portions of Fayette County. As we look at here at Madras going down to near Lake Hills, I want to start to look at some of these roads here, because this is where we're seeing this interesting, we're not seeing a clear hook, but we're seeing some really interesting notchiness that would take us over near the Walt, exactly the area that we're looking at here. This is Baker Road along with Posey Road. It's actually an area that's not too densely populated here, but I can tell that there are some neighborhoods of note. So if you are in these neighborhoods, Briarwood Plantation subdivision going out to Country Manor, you need to be in your safe place. The safe place of your house to be during a tornado warning is going to be into an interior area and the lowest area of your home. If you perhaps are in a business, you want to be away from windows, and if there is a lower area that you can go to, obviously that's going to be the better place to ride this out. Here's some information that's good for you. The most interior area of your home, once again, away from windows, because even with there being a tornado threat on top of a really extreme wind threat, debris will fly, and also there will be a lot of downed trees as the swift line breaks through. Away from doors and windows, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can. Keep in mind, for those of you who may be out and about, potentially at work, we know school is now over, maybe perhaps running some errands and doing things like that, you want to get to somewhere, if you're driving, know someone who's driving, where you can be closer to shelter than not. You don't want to be trying to move around in this type of situation. Go to your basement. If you have a basement and you don't have to go outside to get into it, that's going to be the better place for you to be. Right now the time is 3:15. We've broken into coverage once more because there is now a tornado warning in effect for Coweta County. It will go into 3:45. This does not include the city of Noonan, but it does include a portion of the I-85 corridor as you get into the McCullum area, going down as far south as Eastwood Estates and Briarwood. We're not seeing any incredibly interesting signatures here, but these may be a bit harder to pick up on in detail because we're not far from the site of the radar in Peachtree City. Peachtree City, you're actually under this tornado warning as well. If it were to take a path, it looks like the path will be from Eastwood Estates to Briarwood. I want to see what this road is here, Alex. I just want to zoom in here. We all drive down these roads.
It's going to be Sharpsburg-McCollum.
Yeah, this is going to, say that one more time?
Sharpsburg-McCollum Road.
So Sharpsburg up to the north. Okay, McCollum right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. So if you're familiar with that Sharpsburg exit, as you make that kind of turn up I-85, you know what I'm talking about. If you're moving from south to north, this is the area of concern. Raymond Hill Road going up to Cannon Gate Acres is where you're likely getting that shield of rain. We just got a radar update here, and we're seeing some notchiness, but no clear indications of a hook echo. A hook echo would be a pretty defined signature that would let us know that there's likely some rotation on the ground. But there's still a great potential as the storm continues to make its way to the north and to the east. So Briarwood down to Highway 34E. If you're hearing neighborhoods that you perhaps live in or you're familiar with based on your proximity right now, I would find my safe place and I would not venture outside, because in some cases you may not be seeing or feeling any rain at all. That's the case in Cannon Gate Acres, going up to Major all the way down to Shoal Creek Forest, and certainly as you get out to Mixon Road. But if you were just to look out to the east, you would see a very dark wall of cloud cover. But the concern is that there could be a pretty steady amount of rain that could cause the initial rotation to make that wall cloud that we would be looking for not as prominent as it could be. So if you're in Country Manor, Sharpsburg-McCollum Road, you definitely need to be in your safe place all the way down to the Highway 34E intersection as you get into Creekwood. Once again, for those of you in the control room, if you happen to get any pictures, especially along I-85 from our GDOT cameras, those would be great to look at as we're getting an idea of how the atmosphere is basically reacting to this wall of water and wind as it moves to the north and to the east. Areas that are also in this warning include Tryon all the way down to Peachtree City. What Alex Forbes has turned on now is our debris detector, our correlation coefficient, and basically what we're doing is we're looking for really bright colors of maybe an orange or red variety, yellow, and that would indicate something is being lofted into the air, pushed into the air because of rotation on the surface. We're not seeing that right now. You see a scattering over here, and this is due to the close proximity of the radar site. So the way we're going to talk about this storm over the next few minutes is going to be a bit different, because we're not going to be able to see things as well as we would like to see them due to the tilting of the radar based on its proximity. So I need you to just take us at our word, and as we go through the next 30-minute period, just be safe rather than sorry, if you will. Because no matter how you shake it, this will be a very vigorous wind maker as it sweeps to the east. Alex, is there anything that you're seeing of note? Or I'm starting to see some purples here along that would indicate that we likely have some pieces of hail falling.
Let's see. So I'm going to hit the Barron button here, and this is going to be just that general hail swath. And like we've been tracking earlier, it's nothing of severe level. And even the tornado warning notes that the hail would be below severe level, and that's to be expected, right? When you get a situation like this, certainly with a bowing out right there blowing into Peachtree City, that's what you would be looking for. I want to add some context real quick, just because I'm familiar with the area. Since this is Sharpsburg-McCollum Road and Highway 34, this is right where your Publix and your Kroger is, right there in Coweta County. We also had a tornado come right through here about 2 or 3 months ago. Okay. So it's this exact spot. I would say, generally speaking, the tornado threat is now past the grocery stores I just mentioned, and that's about to cross the river into Fayette County, and that puts Peachtree City next in line. But Jonathan, one more thing that's jumping out at me. We saw the notch up here. I'm beginning to see something that resembles that. It's not quite as clear because we're so close to the radar, but south of Highway 34 right now is certainly catching my attention. Yeah, it's that bit of a kind of an elongated S that we start to look for to say, okay, is this an area that could potentially develop and tighten up a bit as we approach Peachtree City? And that's the area that we'll be looking at. And once again, I don't think we'll see anything that is particularly prominent on radar over the next 10 to 15 minutes as the storm continues to move closer to the site of the radar,
just because the way radars work. The storms at this point basically are going to be kind of getting cut off because the radar scan is just so close given its tilt in proximity to the site. So as we look at areas of concern, Alex just mentioned to you here along 34 near Sharpsburg McCullum Road, you're getting heavy rain. I'm talking about it's coming down in sheets out there. But if you are to the west of that area, for sure, the tornado threat is no longer yours. However, if you're to the east, as you get closer to Mixon Road, getting closer to the Fayette, Coweta County line, that's where we're going to be watching this storm develop. Let's look at some of these roads here. This is Shoal Creek Forest, Fisher's Crossroads, along with Peachtree City, and this is the, this is the Joel Cowan Parkway, a very busy area at this time of the day, or pretty much any day. People out and about moving around the arteries of Peachtree City. This is where a lot of shopping goes on, as Alex mentioned. A lot of neighborhoods on the outside, but you get into Joel Cowan here. Once again, that's an area that's pretty heavy populated, where many people may be out and about. And here's the danger of being out and about on a day like today, is that you could be out and about and literally see some spokes and spurts of sunshine above, because down south, it doesn't look like it looks here in Atlanta. Over Atlanta, we have some gray clouds above. What Alex is doing now is he's looking at some various places where we could possibly be getting a better camera view of things down south. So as we look down to the south, we don't see as much sunshine, which is a good thing. But at this point, what we're starting to see, if we can draw a story here, even as the storms rolled over portions of Carroll County just about 15 to 45 minutes ago, that the atmosphere is not really kind of bothered by these thick clouds and cooler temperatures. As we take you here to our GDOT camera,
okay,
there we got some street flooding there, people out and about. Could you give me the exact area that we're looking at here? Okay, I can tell that based on the lettering here that it is Coweta County. This is our GDOT camera, where you can definitely see that there is ponding in the roads here. There's a fair amount of vehicles on the roads, obviously taking it slower, or should be taking it slower, given the weather conditions. Okay, so this is State Route 34 and 16. So Alex Forbes, could you help us match that up here? Yep. State Route 4 and Highway 16, I'm sure, in Coweta County. So this is 16
so here's
and 34. Okay, so what you're looking at, we're going to follow this out. This is always just kind of an in the moment, in progress here. You're kind of getting to see the bare bones. And so what this area is right here, this is an area that is not exactly in the tornado warning. You all are still under a severe thunderstorm warning, but this area right here, you're getting heavy rain. So this is what it looks like outside, and this is the kind of weather that, yeah, if you had to make a choice, you wouldn't want to be in it. I hope these are just people who are caught outside and maybe perhaps caught off guard to a bit given the weather conditions. Now what we're starting to see just to the north of the tornado warning are some whites popping up on radar here. And as a result of this is just to the south of Palmetto here as we get a little bit closer to the the Fulton County line. There's Fayette County right there, and Coweta line, is that we may have some larger pieces of hail starting to fall from these storms. It's going to take a while for the radar to likely update, indicating that there's something between Palmetto and Peachtree City, but yeah, it just happened before our eyes here. So we're starting to see some stones that are probably of a larger variety, maybe closer to the dime to quarter size variety. The concern now is that this is along the interstate, I-85, and so if we have any cameras along I-85 as you cross over Coweta going into the extreme southern portion of Fayette, Fulton County, you're going to find that, I'm talking about, the rain is coming down in sheets there, and it's likely a blinding rain as you have some hail mixing in as well. For those of you who are in the Palmetto area, you're getting your first round of heavy rain. What comes behind it is going to be softer. You are not under, at this point, a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. That tornado warning is confined to areas that are along and near the Fayette-Coweta line. But now, at this point, the concern largely rest in Fayette County. So we'll turn our attention now from Tryon all the way down to Peachtree City here, going out to Fayetteville. If you are in Fayetteville, this storm is still some 15 to 20 minutes away. I hope fingers crossed that it starts to fall apart. I believe this is our fun spot camera.
And we're looking west-southwest, so we're looking straight into this warning.
Yeah, we can go ahead and examine here. Alex, jump in as you feel free. This is one of our cameras down here, so we're looking west. So if we were in Fayetteville and we're just to kind of stand up some 200-300 feet, we would be looking back. And so one of the things that this is going to tell us right here is that there's a pretty solid shield of cloud cover. So any particular rotation, it may not be as prominent, especially when you add in the rain on that leading edge. We don't have really bright conditions here. As you can see, a pretty solid shelf right here, but nothing particularly outstanding at this vantage point that looks over to the water tower there as you look just outside of Fayetteville. Once again, we are in Fayetteville with our Fun Spot camera looking out to the west, and what we're trying to get an idea is, as the radar is going to kind of be a little funny for a while because this is the heart of the radar. Exactly here is where the radar sits for all of North Georgia. The signatures and the returns on the radar are going to be a bit wonky. I want to start to look at some of these streets and roads between Tryon and Peachtree City. So as we look at, once again, we've covered this, the Joel Cowan Parkway area. Any of those arteries that would take you off Sonoy Road there going out to Dogwood Tri and into Timber Ridge, that would be probably Dogwood Triangle Circle there going out to Fayette Villa Estates and Smith's Crossroads. We'll be watching this area, especially along Highway 54, into the next 5 to 10 minutes for some possible rotation that's going to be a bit difficult to pinpoint. So here's Highway 54. This is Peachtree City. That rain is likely coming down really strong here. We're likely not seeing as much hail. If we are, those are some pretty small stones that are coming in as the storm rolls over the heart of the city. It's going to take 54 and it's going to kind of follow 54, if you will, right into Fayetteville. Alex, is there any other area that we're looking at to see that could be a possible concern as we get deeper into the afternoon?
I think, as we were talking about earlier, right where we're talking right now, if you were watching Jonathan and I 25 minutes ago, we mentioned the Coweta-Fayette line as that main line pushed into the area and interacted with our wedge setup. We would be watching closely, and I think that's what we saw happen here. Outside of that, I just had the winds up, and there's nothing down into Troop or Meriwether County that's catching my attention. In fact, you lose the severe thunderstorm warning once you get to Greenville. And then up towards the north, we still have what's left of this warning up into Douglasville, but even then, with this line of storms pushing into Fulton County, there is one little kink right there.
Yeah, it does look like a little kink, yeah.
But outside of that, I'm not seeing anything else.
And I think that may perhaps tell a story, Alex, is that the National Weather Service here is saying, okay, we're not going to extend what we've already issued.
Yep.
So we have something in place from Douglasville all the way down into Noonan in terms of a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're not going to stretch that to include areas that actually have heavier rain now, which puts you into southern Cobb County going into now South Fulton. For those of you in Fairburn, get ready for some really heavy rain. You have heavy rain and you're going to have some gusty winds, but at this point, you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning. There continues and there remains to be a tornado warning that is primarily affecting areas between Tryon and Peachtree City. In and around Joel Cowan Parkway at this point, I think you're okay. But this is going to follow Highway 54 right into Peachtree City, through Peachtree City into Fayetteville within the next few minutes. So Fayetteville, you're less than 10 minutes away. Probably about 5 minutes would be a better picture. And then we'll start looking out to the Atlanta Motor Speedway as the storm starts to close in on south and western portions of Henry County. And then Spalding, you'll likely get caught up in the mix as well. This is our camera at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. When you go down to southern portions of Henry County, you can see here there's a thick blanket of cloud cover, and oftentimes we talked about how is the wedge going to work out with this system. Well, the wedge has to stop at some point. Where does it cut off? Because the wedge is pretty prominent. The temperatures are running in the 60s and even the 50s from Atlanta to the north, but down to the south, you have temperatures that are basically starting to cool off some, but have been running in the 80s at points in time during the day. 79 there in Troup County, 77 in Upson County right now, 73 in what is a cooling atmosphere due to the rain there in Coweta. And it's where these winds have been running into each other, coming in out of the north and the east, and then there's also been a prominent southerly flow, and this is why we've been watching this zone here. And Alex, interestingly enough, it's like that kind of convergence zone is where I-85 is, and I think we're starting to see a more prominent hill threat, at least temporarily, just for areas to the north. And once again, taking you out to Atlanta Motor Speedway, you'll join the chat in terms of the conversation within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so we have a camera in just a second here that is taking us to Fayette County, and this is State Route 54 from based on what I can see. And if I can look a little bit closely there, it says something Parkway. So
I believe that's Joel Cowan Parkway.
Say that one more time.
Joel Cowan Parkway.
Joel Cowan. So okay, that's an area that that is the heart of Peachtree City.
McDuff Parkway.
McDuff Parkway. So that is State Route 54 and McDuff Parkway, and this is in Peachtree City, if I'm correct. Just confirm that for me, y'all. I don't want to be wrong on anything like this of this nature, but you can see here the frame rate is a little bit off, but nonetheless, cars going through that intersection now with ease as they're on the back end. Generally, overall, as we've been watching this system, there has been a weakening of the larger rain and wind fill from when this storm was in Alabama. In terms of scale, what we're seeing the heaviest rain right now from Tryon into Timber Ridge, all the way now into Fayetteville Estates. This is 59 here, and once again, we'll keep our eyes on this storm until it crosses over into Fayette County. So we can announce they have dropped the tornado warning.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have dropped the tornado warning that was in effect for Fayette and Coweta counties. Now this rain is continuing to move to the east. The threat for strong wind is still there as you approach once again the city of Fayetteville. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes is when you're going to get your heaviest downpours and subsequently your strongest winds. There are some areas of suspicion and concern, but once again today the main concern or damaging wind gusts, and we're starting to see the result of that. Those damaging wind gusts, especially with a waterlogged ground, the weakened root system leading to power outages. At this point, we have roughly what would be about 100 outages in the Heard County area, about 100 in Coweta. We also see some blues popping up in Fulton County and even DeKalb County, 200, 100, considering the scale and the large population of these areas. These are rather minor outages, but what it does confirm one thing, that there are likely some downed trees and certainly some power grids impacted as a result of the storms that are sweeping through today. Right now, the heaviest of the storms in Troup County are still along the I-85 corridor. As you move into Coweta, it looks like all of the action in terms of the heaviest storm activity remains to the south and to the east of Noonan there, closing in on the Fayette County line. For those of you in Fayette County, anywhere from Tryon going all the way down to Peachtree City, you're getting hit the hardest right now, but the worst is about to be over. It's moving into Fayetteville. It's moving into Fayetteville within the next 5 to 10 minutes. In terms of the Atlanta metro area here, many folks out and about today, heading back to work after the holiday weekend. These storms are rolling in, closing in on the perimeter, already kissing the Cobb Cloverleaf right up there, going up I-75, eventually closing in on 575 over Lake Allatoona. And then at that time, that's when we know the storms will have crossed into the perimeter. This is going to make for a pretty shaky and damp afternoon commute, but I don't think that we will have to cut back in anymore at this point, because Alex, we can see here within the past 3 radar scans, this thing is really falling apart.
I think that's putting it mildly. It's running into that pool of cooler air that we've been showing you all afternoon, right? It went from temperatures in the mid 70s to boom 60s, and that's when the wedge is our friend.
Yeah. and the wedge has certainly protected us for today.
Right.
And we're going to continue to follow this storm. In fact, we are less than 30 minutes away from Fox 5 News at 4. We will continue our storm coverage through the afternoon into the evening. Alex Forbes here joining me as we've been covering what is now a tornado warning that is no longer in effect for Fayette County. I'm Jonathan Stacey. We'll be back in just a few minutes.